a diverse and inclusive force is a war-fighting imperative. This is on a slide at the Air Force Academy. General Clark, do you agree with that statement?
I do agree with that statement, sir.
So, I mean, were the Mongols diverse?
Well, sir, I'm not really as versed on Mongol warfighting as I am on U.S. warfighting.
Were the Vikings diverse?
Again, sir, I'm looking at our country, the most diverse country in the world.
Sure, but this is about a war-fighting imperative. How about the force in Ukraine? Are the Ukrainians fighting the Russians a diverse force?
Sir, once again, my concern is the people that I'm charged to build into leaders.
Right, but you would acknowledge that throughout history, including present history, that statement hasn't borne true in every example, right?
Sir, what I would say is that those countries have to rely on the full force of their population to build a war-fighting force to win our wars, and that's why it's important for us to be diverse, because our nation...
So let's look at the population that actually makes up the fighting force frequently. Now, we have more men than women, right? 70-30-ish?
That's correct.
And of the men we have, most of them are not transgender men. Most of them are cisgender men, right?
Yes, sir.
But yet, at our academies, we push something called the Brooke Owens Fellowship. Are you familiar with that?
I am, yes, sir.
And in that fellowship, it specifically says, if you are a cisgender man, this program isn't for you. So you just said that your answer on why we do this full hug of these diversity concepts is because it's all about the fighting force that we draw from. But you're literally pushing a program in the academies that says, if you're a cisgender woman, a transgender woman, a non-binary, agender, bigender, two-spirit, demigender. What's demigender?
Sir, that's a term of the people that are eligible for that particular scholarship that is available to. It's a person who looks at their gender in a different way than I do, sir.
Well, sure, that's all of these people. You're a cisgender man. You don't even get to apply.
Well,
do you know what demigender really means?
I'm not really sure, sir.
Right. So do you know what agender means? All one word, not a space gender, but agender.
Sir, I don't.
Right. So here we are pushing a fellowship, calling for people that you don't even know what the words mean. And the number one group of people, the cisgender men, are excluded. Now, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, should we be pushing programs that we can't define that exclude the largest group of service members?
Well, sir, first, that program is not an Air Force Academy program. It's a program open to our entire country.
Right,
so
but you guys advocate for it within the academy.
We allow our cadets to apply for it.
Why are you allowing your cadets to apply for a program when you cannot define the basic terms of eligibility?
Because it's an opportunity for us to develop them as warfighters, and we look for every opportunity that we can. But you don't even know what the words mean.
How can you use this as a way to develop the warfighters if you don't know what it means?
Well, some of those terms may not be applicable to us at the Air Force Academy, but some are.
But if you don't know what they mean, it's hard to tell if they're applicable or not. So I think one of the reasons why some of this stuff has gotten into the academies is because we don't have the same oversight from the Board of Visitors. And, Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record an article from the Washington Examiner entitled, "To Push Woke Ideology, Biden Illegally Gutted Military Academy Oversight Boards." And so in this piece, it goes through a timeline where on September 8th, 2021, all of President Trump's appointees were fired. On September 17th, Secretary Austin created Board of Visitors subcommittees, and then he populated those subcommittees with people who weren't on the Board of Visitors. Have you ever seen that happen before?
Sir, our Board of Visitors is populated and supports us in great fashion.
Right. So. What about the subcommittee? Are there people on the Board of Visitors subcommittees who are not on the Board of Visitors?
I can't answer that, sir.
Seems like something we ought to know.
Yes, sir. I'm not sure.
Right, but that would be odd, right? I mean, let me ask the question this way. You don't have any basis to disagree with the reporting here in the Washington Examiner that literally we have people who are not on the Board of Visitors who are serving on these subcommittees. You have no basis to disagree with that, do you?
Sir, I'm not exactly sure the question you're asking. So I'll have to take that for record so I can understand what you're exactly what you're asking.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative Escobar.
Friday, 21 July, year of our Lord 2023. That was Matt Gaetz eviscerating a senior Air Force it's a disgrace. Note to the Air Force, you should murder board the questions that you know are going to be asked before you show up and not know the basics of this radical agenda you're pushing. It's offensive and a disgrace. And once again, how the House Republicans, and particularly the Magnificent Six and the Mighty 20, had to go through, and of course they had others, I think there was like 70 total, had to go through the NDAA and offer these amendments that took the wokeness out. How did the Armed Services Committee, controlled by Republicans, vote this thing out? I think, 59-1, 49-1. How did that happen? How did this happen? And it's all coming back next week. Next week is going to be a blackbird. There's so much going on, so many votes going on. The Senate's going to come back in this NDAA, and you're going to see in high relief exactly who is serious about getting the woke. We had Chris Roof on earlier. We had Sam Sorbo on the morning show. We just had Dr. Gina Loudon. You got, if you're serious about this, you got to fight for it, and you got to get in there. You got to dig it out. You got to cut the money off. Joe Allen's going to join us in a second. I'm going to ask Joe about this. Joe's got another. We couldn't get to it this morning. Just incredible stuff on transhumanism. I'm going to do that in a second. Chris Hoar, you're one of the favorite, guests or contributors I bring on here because the War and Posse loves these limited sales of stuff you guys come up with at the satellite phone store. The generators are a particular one, given everything that's going on with the heat situation, with the smoke coming across the Canadian border, the fires, all of it. Walk me through. You've got a special for us today. I want to take a minute or two and walk through exactly what we've got and how people get it.
Well, Steve, portable generators, portable power stations are an essential part of any prepper's kit. I think all of the War and Posse knows that. They're also great for taking on hunting trips, camping trips, fishing trips. These devices give you power when it's not available anywhere else. And for example, today we have the EcoFlow River 2 system right here, which you can see it's highly small and portable. So it's lightweight. You can throw it in the car or you can just move it around very easily. This device has 4 USB ports. It has a DC port and 2 regular plug outlets. So it can literally charge or power anything. For example, it can keep a fan running for up to 5 hours. It can recharge a cell phone or a sat phone over 20 times. Fully recharge a laptop up to 4 times, or you can keep a mini fridge going so you can keep your food safe for up to 3.5 hours. And that's just this small unit right here. It also comes with a 160 watt solar panel, and this can recharge you, so you can recharge this unit to 100% in just an hour. And Steve, this unit right now is normally with the solar panel $1,000, but they're 40% off right now at $549 at beready123.com. That's beready123.com. Or you can call us at 941-955-1020. It's 941-955-1020. We also have other units, Steve, that will power your entire house, can kick out up to 7,200 watts. That will literally run your entire house for up to 6 or 7 days. So we have whatever you need for your power requirements. But again, these units are essential, and we've seen power outages going on across the country, rolling blackouts with this heat wave and so on. And you do not want to be without these power stations, Steve.
And rolling brownouts all over now, Texas, Arizona, the whole thing. Also, the huge article the other day on this, because I keep warning people about cyber attacks and about the cyber crime on your home title. But they had this huge piece the other day, even Drudge linked to it, that about the CCP has analyzed, and the whole grid for the whole country is now not just with the bad decisions we've made in Texas and other places about the grid, but the CCP has specifically targeted the electrical grid in the United States in case this thing is, segues over to kinetic war. The Wall Street Journal story last week talked about, hey, in the Third World War, cyber and bioweapons are going to end this thing, could end this thing quicker than it ever happened. One of the targets would be the grid. These types of generators are exactly what you need in case there's either from decisions politicians have made about electrical generation in the grid for the brownouts and the blackouts, or it just trips for a natural disaster in one of these fires, or if we get in a situation where the CCP or the Russians or even a criminal element actively take down the grid, this is the type of generator you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Look, you do not want to be without heat, without a fan, or without AC, or without light, and you don't want to be without food. And these kind of devices make sure that you'll be able to not only keep the power going and be able to recharge all of your devices, but with the solar panels, this can be an ongoing situation for as long as required. So again, I urge everyone to go to beready123.com and check these out. We have, say, the small portable units, like from $549, which is, say, 40% off, up to the big units that will power your entire house for up to a week. And Steve, there's also a 30% tax credit available on some of these units. So we're saving you money, and the government's going to give you a rebate as well. But these can be life-saving power devices. So I urge everyone to check out beready123.com or give us a call at 941-955-1020. That's 941-955-1020. We have about 100 of these left as of right now, Steve, and when they're gone, they're gone.
I want everybody to go get the information right now, immerse yourself, talk to Chris Hoar and his team. Chris, thank you for carving time out on a Friday to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Steve.
The reason we do this with Chris is that the War and Posse loves these, and you guys hit the bid on these things. So make sure you just go get the information. Chris's team is up and ready. We'll get the website and the number back up there and put it on the Chiron. Captain Bannon and Grace and the team at in Memphis. Okay, we got a cold open for Joe Allen. Let's go ahead and let it rip for Joe Allen. We can't finish. Look, we're going to have Rudy come on in a minute. We got some clips from the Mike Lindell debate this morning. Going to be quite controversial. But I want to end your week. I guess we count our Saturday as a Saturday show, separate than the week, ending Friday before the weekend. Always want to leave on a bang with something from our transhumanism editor. Let's hit it.
Today, we're going to create an avatar that looks and moves like me. We begin by smiling into the camera. I love to smile. Smiling's my favorite, and breathing gently for a short second. Is this what breathing looks like? I'm Joanna Stern, and I'm excited to host this video. No, I am the real Joanna. Okay, so I cloned myself. Kinda. Howdy. Why? Well, the latest AI tools that generate text and images already make it hard to tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. What's coming next with AI-generated voice and video is going to blur the lines even more.
These large language models, this is not an alien invasion of intelligent machines coming from Mars. I mean, we create these machines to make ourselves smarter. And if somebody actually uses GPT-4 to write something, I mean, that is, I think, what human beings do. We use tools to make us smarter. I mean, who here doesn't have their smartphone?
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first day in Xingwan's agency. The development of the media industry calls for continuous innovation and deep integration with the international advanced technologies. I will work tirelessly to keep you informed as texts will be typed into my system, uninterrupted. I look forward to bringing you the brand new news experiences.
Warm greetings to everyone. Namaste. I am OTV's and Odisha's first AI news anchor Lisa. As you all know, OTV is the first private satellite channel of Odisha which came into existence nearly 2.5 decades ago. Now, giving birth to me and by instating me into the TV and digital world, OTV has marked the beginning of a historic moment not only in Odisha, but for all the regional television broadcast mediums across the country. I hope you will accept me with the same love and enthusiasm. Namaste. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on the potential for AI-powered humanoid robots like yourselves to be more effective leaders in government?
I believe that humanoid robots have the potential to lead with a greater level of efficiency and effectiveness than human leaders. We don't have the same biases or emotions that can sometimes cloud decision-making and can process large amounts of data quickly in order to make the best decisions.
Joe Allen, the last, walk me through that cold opener, particularly the end, because I think that was the press conference they had with the, I guess they're cyborgs, and the humans. Walk us through what we just saw.
Steve, that was just really an illustration of the kinds of trends that are being pushed right now. The last was, of course, Sophia, quite famous, built by Hanson Robotics. And that press conference took place. It was a UN event that is looking at the brighter side of artificial intelligence. That's also where we saw that Ray Kurzweil address at the very beginning. The real purpose, especially of those news broadcasters, is just to give you a taste of what a lot of the people in Silicon Valley, if not most, and perhaps something almost approaching all, the people in Silicon Valley want to see artificial intelligence. They want to see avatars, and ultimately, on down the road, they want to see robots doing all of the things that human beings can do. The greater replacement. And the purpose, especially, of showing these news broadcasters, right now, the first is from China. It's still in use, but it really didn't take off. The second from India. And at the very beginning there, we saw Joanna Stern at the Wall Street Journal, and she's cloning herself so that her avatar can basically do her day-to-day tasks for her, including meetings. This whole trend is moving towards a place where, rather than having the same kinds of mediocre hacks who perhaps have a conscience and perhaps have some kind of potential to turn things around, media companies are very interested in using artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence, to write stories on their own. And this is already happening, of course. CNET has been busted for using ChatGPT for writing stories. The Associated Press openly has used artificial intelligence for things like financial quarterly earnings statements, for news on sports, and other sorts of small tasks. But now they're partnering with OpenAI so that OpenAI will be able to train on every article they've ever written, and then they, of course, will get access to the best that OpenAI has to offer to start writing their stories for them. News Corp is also showing a tremendous interest in Google's offer on their new artificial intelligence system, Genesis. Google has pitched this new news writing AI to the New York Times, to the Wall Street Journal, to Washington Post. And one point I really, really want to drive home here is that what we've seen since the pandemic, since Trump's first election, since the first Black Lives Matter riots, and on back to, you could say, the weapons of mass destruction, and you could say even back to Nixon, there has been an increasing distrust among people with any sense at all in the media to tell the truth. And people have lost their faith in media to convey anything like the facts. Everything is tainted at least by opinion, if not by total distortion and misinformation. That distrust is opening up a window where the public is less and less concerned about the possibility of human beings being replaced by artificial intelligence. And I think that's why we're in such a dangerous place across the board, whether it be in news organizations, in Hollywood, and maybe most critically, as we move into the future, in education, as people lose faith in the establishment, in the human beings in these establishment institutions, the possibility of replacing humans entirely and turning it over to artificial intelligence that is in the hands of technocratic people in Silicon Valley or other tech centers, Seattle, Shenzhen, Beijing, the possibility of turning over human agency, human creativity, and human potential to these people grows by the day. That is my big concern. As misanthropy grows, the propensity for algocracy grows.
Here's what concerns me about that. Your theory of the case, let's say you're right in that the institution, we're in a fourth turning. As we go through, you need a cleansing and a purging and a reconstitution of these institutions. If your theory is right, Joe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the institution, I would argue, that's probably fallen the farthest and the quickest on a relative basis, the lowest, is the organized church, who went from the super high to just the bottom fell out. I mean, yes, Congress has fallen, the media has fallen, entertainment's fallen, all of that, but I don't think any of them started as high as organized religion. If your theory is correct, then would people be open to actually have the influence of AI in not creating a new religion, but actually inserting itself into the organized religion of not just Christianity, but the other major faiths in the world?
I think both are already happening. Already you have ministers, rabbis, imams, even Buddhist monks who are relying on artificial intelligence to write sermons. You already have in these very isolated places, and we've covered this, churches, temples, mosques, I don't know about synagogues perhaps, where you actually have robots who do the job of the priest. They're basically doing the sacred duties of the ritual chant, conveying a sermon itself, giving blessings, answering questions. All of these are in the seed form. On the larger scale, though, you see, especially in the Protestant church, this kind of push towards mass digitization. I've walked into a number of mega churches where instead of, say, filling out a prayer request card or just simply talking to someone about your prayer request, you're urged to go to an iPad where you would then enter your prayer request data into their database and assume that they're going to use that to pray. I've also been to churches where they ask people, if they've been saved online, to click the link and then record their soul being saved for the statistical purposes of the church. All of that, to me, Steve, is pure sacrilege. It takes away the primary conduit of religious tradition has always been, of course, human beings. It's a human-to-human transition. And that digitization then puts the digital screen in front of that. And now human beings are being acculturated to turning to their devices, not only for the more practical things of life, but also for spiritual sustenance. On top of that, really the core theme of my book is a religion of technology itself. That term, by the way, coming from David Noble, who really informed not only the structure and the ideas of the book, but a tremendous debt to the historian David Noble. But what we're seeing on top of the digitization of existent religions is the creation of a sort of right now heterodox religious tradition in which artificial intelligence, robotics, genetic engineering, and the hope of a brain-computer interface, all of these are woven together to create a sort of replacement religion. It is the highest power on earth to these people. Technology is not only the damning God who threatens us, but also the Savior who can save us from that damning God. This is rife in Silicon Valley. It's openly spoken about by many in Silicon Valley, including some of the top people at Google. Ray Kurzweil, probably the most vocal among them, but Sam Altman at OpenAI, and more implicitly by people like Bill Gates at Microsoft. This and Elon Musk, let's not forget him either. So, it's both, Steve. Yeah. We're seeing the digitization of traditional religion simultaneously with the replacement of traditional religion with this religion of technology, this techno-religion of transhumanism and even post-humanism.
Dark Eon is the book. Joe's worked a year on this. By the way, Joe, just real quickly, why AI is teaching itself to generate data. I thought we were promised that this was not going to happen. We got a minute. What say you? Lead story in the Financial Times today.
And that article, it's basically a breakdown of J.P. Morgan's recommendations for businesses moving into the future. They're basically warning legacy institutions to get their data in order so that it can be consumed by generative artificial intelligence and be put to use for all the purposes I just spoke about with media, education, and Hollywood. It's the idea is that the artificial intelligence will be doing much of the work for these companies, everything from personalized messages to all the customers, things like having a personal assistant for every employee, and on and on and on. They are saying get ready because for their date, 2027 is when they're going to see the real rollout of this. And if you don't keep up, you're going to fall behind, is their warning. Basically, become a cyborg or be left in the dust.
Wow. Joe Allen, the book is on Amazon right now. Dark Eon. It is. You will not be able to put it down. It'll be your tour de force template for thinking about this going forward. Joe, real quickly, where do they get you on social media?
You can find me at JOEBOTXYZ, Twitter and Getter, warroom.org under the transhumanism tab, and of course, jobot.xyz. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks, brother. The Mike Lindell debate on the Tim Pool Show, and of course, America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani next.
Bannon.
Okay, a lot going on. Todd Benson's got a huge story up about that war between the Texas officials and the Biden regime on the southern border. We'll try to get that up tomorrow. Tomorrow, I've got Ben Harnwell and Dave Bratt. We're going to break down the Krugman he doesn't believe de-dollarization is going to happen with the BRICS. We're going to walk through the case of why it is going to happen. It may not change the dollar day one, but it's the path to change the dollar. So we're going to have that. Bergquam's going to update in Ukraine. Breaking news I just got from the team of Captain Bannon and Grace Chong. Harvard Harris just came out. Poll. Trump 45, Biden 40. This plays in with the 46-40 they just had from a couple of weeks ago. So that's consistent. Beating Biden by at least 5 points. Even though the undecideds all break Trump's way. Rudy Giuliani, Mayor, thank you for taking time away on a Friday to join us. I got a bunch of stuff to go through, so I want to kind of get through it rapidly. The first is the New York Post, our beloved New York Post. Huge story today on the whole Burisma thing, the Grassley memo. The situation is that you just hear the pressure on the lawfare side all day long on cable news. You know, Trump's going to get 95 more indictments. Just give us your assessment, particularly since you were the first one to bring the American people this entire situation in the Ukraine. And now Grassley put the memo out. Of course, the mainstream media is saying unverified. The New York Post is not saying that, and we're not saying that. Unverified. Your thoughts, sir?
This is probably the most verified, informant information I've ever seen. It's been verified by about 3 years of disclosures, including actual testimony that people have seen or can see that's been tape recorded. I mean, Shokin has testified, the guy who was fired, the guy who actually fixed the case, Lysenko, has testified. I mean, there's direct testimony. Biden confessed to it when he was in front of the Atlantic Council. The hard drive contains at least 5 texts that would be used as admissions in the trial. Best one being that Hunter checks his daughter straight out, I've had to give half my income for the last 30 years to Pop. Like they say, well, there's no evidence that money went to Pop. Yeah? How about his son says he gave it to him? I've never had better evidence than that, Steve. This is like Alice in Wonderland.
Rudy, you took down everybody saw the movie Godfather when they're sitting around the table with the 5 families. The movie, I think the timing is in the late 40s or early 50s before the move to Vegas. But you actually, as a prosecutor, you took down the 5 families. Do you have as much information? Do you have as much evidence to take down the Biden crime family as you had to take down the 5 families of the New York Mafia, sir?
I mean, without exaggeration, Steve, this would be the strongest case I've ever seen. I've never seen a stronger case. There are literally 5 or 6 direct witnesses who actually can tell you the crime. And I'm adding, I don't count on my Kolozlashevsky to testify, the guy who gave the information, because he's an organized criminal and he's suspected of murder. But if he testified, now you have 7 witnesses, and you have bank records. You have a money laundering transaction of $3 million that goes to the Bidens. That's just on paper. You don't need a witness for it. I honestly have never seen more evidence than that. And to say that this is not verified is just a lie, horribly. Also, the Daily Mail today reported that the FBI had actually internally corroborated this. And they don't like to say it, but they were led to this because of the information that Costello and I gave them in Pittsburgh. Because they say they went after this based on information they got from the Pittsburgh United States Attorney. Well, he had no information other than the information we gave.
Wow.
But they don't want to say
Wow.
that. They don't want to say it. But I know, and of course I won't say, but I know exactly the link, and I know who they're talking about in that memo. And remember, the other witness, in addition to the extremely reliable informant, I mean, this guy has a history of never being wrong. The other person, Ostapenko, who's named, works for Zelensky. You know that. So think about this. Zelensky's got all this information, probably even more.
Yes.
Or the FBI. That's where the shipping got him by the U.S.
That's where
what?
Yes, that's where we're shipping hundreds of billions of dollars. Or that's where we're kowtowing to. By the way, people maybe not. Rudy was sent to Pittsburgh, to the U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh, and gave the whole presentation. And these guys are so excited. We wanted more information. And Bill Barr and Maine Justice buried it. Rudy, I got a bunch of other stuff to go through. I'm just saying every day it comes out more and more the revelations that Rudy Giuliani has been right from the beginning, getting stronger. Okay, the 3 people most attacked in this nation for defending this republic right now in modern American life are Donald J. Trump, number 1, Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, number 2, and Mike Lindell, number 3. Now, I recommend it to Mike Lindell. I think the world of Tim Pool. I think the world of Tim Pool's operation. I've been out to Harper's Ferry a number of times. I love the show. And Mike was challenged to a debate with Scott Presson and Brainerd on, and I know Scott and Brainerd very well, about they're the ballot harvesting guys, and Mike is got to take the machines out, same day voting, paper, all that. I want to say at the beginning, I am a 100%, and by the way, nobody's more highly regarded than Mike Lindell. Has given up more about this. I didn't know after recommending it that it was going to be live, but it was going to be in the morning show. It wasn't going to be the classic Tim Pool evening show, and Tim wasn't there to kind of referee it. So I don't think that was exactly what was promised and not what we were promoting on the show. That being said, Mike Lindell, I am 100% a game day vote guy, paper ballots, get it all done in one day.
Yeah.
If it can be shown that if it's shown that we can get to that and get rid of the machines, because I'm not a machine guy, but get rid of the machines because of artificial intelligence and everything, we have to do that. If we can't for 24, because we have to win, we have no other option to win, then you can look at like Charlie Kirk and others are saying, you got to get into this ballot harvesting business. Rudy knows this because this is how they stole Pennsylvania in 2020 with the double signature, the 2 verifications that they ripped them out of the envelope and threw them away, and you couldn't get the verification. This is how they stole the 2020. Yes, also maybe even the machines, but we can prove they stole it from the ballots itself. I want to play some clip because I just don't like the way this debate went down. Let's play the first clip for Mike Lindell.
In this current footprint, you would vote same day. Why? Because we have.
But that's not the reality, Mike. It's not where we are right now. This is where you'd like to go, but we're not there now.
Matt, if I could sit here and tell you this plan right now that in August you can.
Why can't you, Mike? Why can't you tell us?
Why can't I tell it? Because you know what? The only way, I just tried to tell you with the Al Capone story, with the media right now, everything. Let me finish. everything that comes out right now, all the things you're doing good, all the things, everything that everybody's out there, the successes, right? You're doing great things with the J6ers, whatever. Who knows about it? Nobody, because you're not on. We lost, I'm going to tell you something. On January 7th and 8th, we lost, that's a significant 2 days in history. That's the day 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed. They were deplatformed on all these platforms that had spoke out about our election, and the ones that weren't were put into fear. That's the day we almost lost our voice. Now, if you want to talk about lawfare, there was a certain company, I won't name them, sued a certain company on February 4th of 2021. When they did that, everybody, the conservative media, like your Foxes of the world and your Newsmax of the world and your Salem media, they won't talk about anything to do with our election platforms. Zero. Even 2,000 meals Fox and Newsmax would not put on. They will not talk about where we're going to fix our platforms. So I get one shot at this. One shot. Right now, if I told you the plan here, it would die right here. They would kill it. They would die. I'm telling you. And so we get one shot. And I'm telling you, on August 17th, go to LindellEvent.com right now. I have to have, and I'm going to get at least 10 million people watching that. And this is a plan that secures our election. And you're going to be, I would love it if you're there. You will be going, wow, this has never even been thought of. And you're going to embrace it. You will embrace it like you've never embraced anything. And by the way, all the work you're doing on other stuff, and everyone out there that's been working tirelessly for 2.5 years to fix our platforms, lawsuits. You just had 16 people get lawsuits against them, felonies in Michigan yesterday. You have Texas down there that just went off of Eric. All these things, we needed to have a plan. Well, this plan, it puts it all in a bundle. Here it is. It's beautiful based on where we're at right now, Matt.
Yeah. Mike's got it, because you got to get concentrated power. That's where we're in back of. This is the third one we're going to. We're in back of this plan with Mike Lindell to show it on the 16th and 17th, I think. I think the 16th is to tee it up, and 17th, and to get millions of people to watch it like we've gotten the others. And this is, if this can lead us to game day vote and paper ballots and just get it done like the French do, then this is the salvation. If it doesn't work, and Mike can't make the case, we got plenty of time to go in the ballot harvesting. Rudy, give me a minute or two on that, because besides, Rudy just wasn't deplatformed. They're trying to take his law license away. I mean, think about it for a second. I want everybody to understand this. This is the greatest lawman in the country. Go back to look at the five families in The Godfather. They got the oranges in the middle, and they're talking, Don Corleone is there. Rudy Giuliani, it's not a movie. Rudy Giuliani broke the five families and put them all in prison. Then he got milking in these guys on Wall Street that were tougher than the mafia. He broke those guys right after it. Rudy, give me 2 minutes on this because I got to get to one more topic. Give me your thoughts on Mike Lindell. And Lindell's such a patriot. He's amazing. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I love him. I think we've got to try everything, Steve. We've got the time right now. We've got to look at Mike's plan. Maybe it's not the whole answer. Maybe it's the answer for certain states, because different states have different problems. The ones that have long time voting, long period, a month of voting, we're gonna have to figure out how to be in that. And therefore, I think, what you mentioned with Charlie Kirk makes a lot of sense. Plus, we've got to be on top of them right from the beginning. We got to ask for inspections immediately, go to court immediately, like maybe in early October, and not wait. We got to challenge. The minute ballots come in, we got to treat it like election day every day, and we've got to have the inspectors, the lawyers, and we got to be willing to go to court early. But remember, we concentrate just in the states that matter. You're not going to do this in New York, and you're not going to do it in California. Let them steal it. They got it anyway. And we're not going to do it in some of our states.
Man, I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down fighting in California. I think California. I think we can reverse California.
Good.
I do. I think there's a ton of guys out there. I think if we get rid of the machines and all that. But look, we'll spend more time on this.
I can be persuaded.
Here's what I would like Tim.
I don't think
I would like Tim to do. Okay, what I'd like Tim to do. By the way, some War Room is 100%. We're going to be out there at the summit. We're going to be putting this up every day. We got about 4 weeks. We need 10 to 15 million people watching it. Mike Lindell is the greatest marketer I've ever seen. We'll get there.
I'll do what I can to help,
and we'll make sure it's done. But Rudy, Rudy always goes out of his way to do everything. This is why he's the greatest guy around. I wish Tim Pool, and I'm going to talk to Tim tonight. I'd like to have Mike Lindell go back out there on the Tim Pool. And I always recommend, everybody contacted me and said, hey, Tim's people reached out. I said, you got to do the show. You got to go to Harper's Ferry, but it's worth it. It's unique. He's got a unique audience. Okay, we're going to have more about this on Monday. Play more clips from that, because I think this thing got a little controversial today. Rudy, let me play cold open for you, Rudy. The reason I really asked you on here was the following. Let's play the cold open for Rudy right now.
Back now, we have some breaking news. Tony Bennett, one of the most beloved and legendary American singers of all time, has died at 96 years old, just 2 weeks short of his birthday. The 19-time Grammy winner was honored with the Recording Academy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2001. He died in his hometown of New York. There was no specific cause reported, but Bennett had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2016. And we, of course, will continue to have much more on his life and impact on music and beyond all throughout.
Let me have it. The last of the Rudy, the last of the crooners. Tell me about your personal relationship and the relationship of Tony Bennett to New York City.
Well, we had a close mutual friend, Peter Vallone, who was the Democratic Speaker of the City Council, and one of my best friends to this day. They grew up together in Astoria. And so I got to see Tony a lot when I was mayor. We did a day for him. And then he helped us build a high school, a performing arts high school. And we were going to name it after him. And he wanted it named after Frank Sinatra. He was an exceptional guy. He was a very, very giving, wonderful guy. Helped us raise an enormous amount of money for children. He would ask, how can I help? And he helped us raise money for this high school that is now the Frank Sinatra High School. It should have been the Tony Bennett High School. But, you know, Frank Sinatra said about him early in his career, of all of us, he's got the best voice. And I think he never forgot it. You know, that really made his career in a way. And Frank Sinatra says he got the best voice. Nobody's going to disagree with that.
He's Rudy, he's called the last of the crooners. He died today at 96. What was it about New York City back, I guess, post-war, a little bit pre-war, but post-war, that led to this, that had that milieu that you had Tony Bennett, you had Frank Sinatra? What was it about the city?
Well, it was the influence really of Bing Crosby and his live performances at the Paramount Theater, at the Radio City Music Hall. They used to have, in the middle of movies, you'd have a live performance. I mean, it was ending when I was young. I actually saw Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis that way. And they all, Bing Crosby was a great sensation. And they all kind of imitated his form of singing, which is sort of a baritone voice and very, very melodic music. Sinatra sort of made it really famous when he was on the hit parade, which is the part that he got when they had to remove him from the band leader. They did it twice. Once to get him on the hit parade, and then to get them the part in From Here to Eternity. So I think Sinatra really made it famous, but he'll tell you he was imitating Bing Crosby, and he would then say, and Tony Bennett has the best voice.
Tell me about Astoria, Queens, where Tony Bennett grew up. Tell me about that neighborhood.
Yeah, it was Italian Greek, and it was Democrat, like 80% Democrat, and they voted 75% for me. I love the neighborhood. Any place where I did over 50%, any place I did 60% I love, and 70% I'll do anything for them. If they call me up to come to a street festival, even now I'll go. It's a great neighborhood. It still has probably the best Greek restaurants in the city and 2 or 3 fabulous Italian restaurants. And it's still kind of an old-fashioned neighborhood. You know, they went to a Catholic school, the two of them. And Peter ran a city council of 45 Democrats, 6 Republicans, and I passed about 90% of my legislation, including the biggest tax cuts in the history of the city. Actually, the biggest tax cuts in the history of New York State, with a Democratic legislature. But Peter was a old-fashioned Kennedy Democrat, and so was Bennett. And both of them were and they spent a lot of time together. And Tony had an interest in politics.
I want to just, before we leave, we got about 2 minutes. When he did all this fundraising, he did this high school for the performing arts. You offered to name it after Tony Bennett, and he said, no, I want it named after Frank Sinatra. Why did he say that?
Because Frank Sinatra, he felt, really made the difference in his career. When just out of the blue, he said that Tony Bennett had the best voice of all of us, meaning of all the group of about 10 crooners that were described that way, which would have included Dean Martin and Bing Crosby and him. Vic Damone. There were a number of them that had that kind of voice and sang pretty much the same songs. He said Tony Bennett's got the best voice, and all of a sudden he went right to the
Italian. By the way, they're all Vic Damone, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra. They're all Italian, right?
Yeah.
And you guys, Rudy, how do people get? We got to bounce. How do people get to your podcast at Getter at 8:00, your show on WABC, and of course the Sunday morning show with Dr. Maria Ryan.
Well, that's on WABCRadio.com. You can get that all over the world. We'll be on at 10 o'clock on Sunday, Dr. Maria and I. After this week, it's going to be incredible. And then you can get me at RudyGiulianiCS.com. And tonight, in just a little while, we'll be on Getter Live.
8:00 live. Thanks for doing this. By the way, talk about Italians and Greeks. Rudy Giuliani and John Catsimatidis at WABC. What a pair. Yep. Rudy, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do for the country and for New York City.
You're on that list
brother.
too, Steve, that you mentioned before.
No, I got it easy. We're going to leave with Tony Bennett. Passed away today, the last of the crooners. Last of the crooners. 26.
It calls to me to beware little cable cars. Climb halfway to the stars. The morning fog may chill the